Did you know Elvis Presley was instrumental in completing the USS Arizona Memorial? Here we see Elvis and Priscilla visiting that sacred site in Oahu, Hawaii on May 27, 1968. This visit was more than just a photo opportunity for the press. 7 years earlier, in 1961, Elvis performed a landmark benefit concert. That single show raised over $64,000, a crucial sum that helped complete the funding needed to finish the memorial's construction. On this 1968 day, they returned to pay their respects. Elvis solemnly laid a wreath to honor the 1,177 servicemen who lost their lives during the Pearl Harbor attack. It was a quiet, respectful moment, showing a different side of the king. While the world saw the larger-than-life superstar, Graceland was the private sanctuary for Elvis and Priscilla. This photo captures them inside the mansion, their personal refuge from the relentless pressures of fame. When Elvis bought Graceland in 1957, it was intended as a home, not a museum. For Priscilla, who arrived in 1963, Graceland became her entire world. It was here they lived, entertained their closest friends, and tried to build a normal life away from the cameras. Unlike his Hollywood rentals, Graceland was the constant background to their relationship, from their early courtship to their life as a married couple, and the place they brought home their daughter Lisa Marie. This moment marks the beginning of rock and roll's most famous and most debated love story. On September 13, 1959, a 24-year-old Elvis Presley met 14-year-old Priscilla Bewley for the first time. This introduction happened in Bad Nauheim, Germany, at Elvis's temporary home on Goethestrasse. Elvis was serving in the U.S. Army, and Priscilla's stepfather was an Air Force officer stationed nearby. A friend of Elvis introduced them. Despite her young age, Elvis was immediately charmed by her maturity. He played songs for her, including Are You Lonesome Tonight? This meeting set the stage for a relationship that would define both of their lives. By December 1965, Elvis and Priscilla had settled into a unique domestic life, even if the world didn't fully know it. This image captures them during the Christmas season, likely at Graceland. Elvis famously loved Christmas and spared no expense in decorating the mansion. At this point, Priscilla had been living at Graceland for about 2 years, finishing her high school education under the arrangement Elvis made with her parents. He was 30 and she was 20. This period was deep in Elvis's movie era, where he was churning out multiple films a year. This photo shows a rare quiet moment, a glimpse into the private life they shared before their official engagement. When you look at photos of Elvis, you often see the men known as the Memphis Mafia, but few were as close as Jerry Schilling. This photo shows Elvis with one of his most loyal and lifelong friends. Their bond went far deeper than employer and employee. Jerry met Elvis in 1954, even before the fame exploded, when they played football together in Memphis. He officially started working for Elvis in 1964, but he was always part of the inner circle. Schilling was known for his loyalty and professionalism, managing Elvis's TCB band and remaining a constant, trusted confidant who navigated the complex world of Elvis's stardom alongside him until the very end. Behind Priscilla Presley's iconic story is the mother who had to make an almost impossible decision. This photo shows a young Priscilla Beaulieu with her mother, Anne Beaulieu. When Priscilla first met Elvis in Germany, she was only 14. Anne and Priscilla's stepfather, Air Force Captain Paul Beaulieu, were understandably worried about their daughter dating the world's biggest rock star. However, Elvis visited their home in his Army uniform, behaving like a perfect gentleman, which helped ease their concerns. It was Anne and Paul who eventually gave their blessing for Priscilla to move to Memphis and finish high school at Graceland, trusting Elvis's promise to care for her. Even after their divorce, Priscilla Presley remained connected to the TCB inner circle. Here is Priscilla at the 18th Annual Grammy Awards on February 28, 1976. She is attending the event with Joe Esposito, one of Elvis's closest friends and his primary road manager. This photo was taken at the Hollywood Palladium nearly 3 years after her divorce from Elvis was finalized. Her presence here, accompanied by Joe, shows the deep familial bonds that extended beyond their marriage. Joe Esposito was Elvis's right-hand man, and Priscilla was building her own life, maintaining relationships that would become crucial in preserving Elvis's legacy after his passing just 1 year later. This remarkable photo captures a meeting of true entertainment royalty. On August 29, 1969, Elvis and Priscilla are seen at the International Hotel in Las Vegas. They are attending an after-party following Nancy Sinatra's show. This was a monumental time for Elvis. He had just completed his first legendary run of live shows in Vegas, marking his triumphant return to the stage. The party was filled with legends, and as the original caption notes, icons like Frank Sinatra and Fred Astaire were also present. This image perfectly illustrates Elvis's reclaimed status as the ultimate performer, celebrated by the very icons who defined Hollywood and Las Vegas entertainment. By 1965, Graceland had become a protective bubble for Elvis and Priscilla, shielding their unconventional relationship from the public. This photo, taken around 1965, shows the couple in their private world. Elvis was 30 and Priscilla was 20. While Elvis was the world's most famous entertainer, his life inside these walls was different. This was the period before their marriage, while Priscilla was living at Graceland to finish her schooling, as promised to her parents. These mid-60s photos are special because they show the transition from their initial German courtship to the established couple they would become, sealed off from the judgment of the outside world. This 1958 photo of Elvis on Army leave captures a powerful and bittersweet moment. Here, Elvis is back at Graceland in June 1958. He had been inducted into the U.S. Army just 3 months earlier, trading his gold lame for Army greens. This was not a happy vacation, it was emergency leave. His beloved mother, Gladys, was critically ill, and Elvis rushed home to be by her side. This image shows him trying to maintain normalcy, but his world was changing. 2 months later, in August, Gladys would pass away, a devastating event from which Elvis never fully recovered. This photo captures the end of his innocence. This photo captures 3 generations of the Presley family, offering a rare glimpse of domestic life at Graceland around 1969. We see Elvis and Priscilla with little Lisa Marie, who would be about 1 year old. Beside them are 2 crucial household figures, Charlie Hodge and Grandma Minnie Mae Presley. Charlie Hodge was a loyal friend from Elvis's Army days who lived at Graceland and served as a stage assistant and confidant. And of course, Elvis's grandmother, Dodger Minnie Mae, who lived at the mansion since Elvis bought it. This image is a true family portrait, showing the inner circle that lived and breathed the Graceland life. This image represents the first chapter of a romance that would captivate the world. It was September 13, 1959, at a house on Goethestrasse in Bad Nauheim, Germany, where it all began. A 24-year-old Elvis Presley, serving in the U.S. Army, met 14-year-old Priscilla Beaulieu, the stepdaughter of an Air Force officer. Despite the age difference, Elvis was immediately impressed by Priscilla's maturity. He was reportedly nervous and tried to impress her, playing piano and singing. For Priscilla, the meeting was surreal. This casual evening in Germany sparked a relationship that would span over a decade and become the stuff of legend. Here we see Elvis, Priscilla, and close friend Charlie Hodge arriving at the USS Arizona Memorial in Oahu, Hawaii on May 27, 1968. This was no simple tourist visit. 7 years earlier, Elvis had performed a historic benefit concert that raised essential funds to help complete this very memorial's construction. His 1961 performance was vital in funding the tribute to those lost at Pearl Harbor. Now, he was returning more privately with his wife to pay his respects. Charlie Hodge, ever present at Elvis's side, witnesses this solemn moment. It was a day to honor the memory of heroes, a project Elvis himself was instrumental in. By 1969, Elvis Presley was at the peak of his great comeback. Following the massive success of the '68 comeback special, he had reclaimed his throne as the king of rock. This photo captures Elvis and Priscilla during a well-deserved vacation in 1969, likely in Hawaii, one of their favorite destinations. This year also marked Elvis's triumphant return to the live stage in Las Vegas at the International Hotel. These vacations represented a rare opportunity for the couple to relax and reconnect. Away from the Vegas lights and Hollywood demands, they could simply enjoy their time together, celebrating one of the most successful years of his career. This photo captures a moment of joy among friends. On December 5, 1970, Elvis and Priscilla attended the wedding of their longtime friend George G.K. Klein in Memphis. George Klein was one of Elvis's oldest and most loyal friends, having known him since Hume's high school. He was an essential part of the Memphis Mafia. For this special occasion, Elvis served as George's best man. Seeing Elvis and Priscilla celebrating their close friend's wedding shows the loyalty and tight-knit bonds he maintained with his inner circle. It was a welcome break from his busy schedule of touring and performing in Las Vegas. On the eve of a life-changing year, Elvis and Priscilla are seen here in Memphis on December 31, 1966. They were on their way to a New Year's Eve party at the city's popular Manhattan Club. Little did they know what 1967 had in store for them. Just 4 months after this photo was taken, on May 1, 1967, the two would marry in a private Las Vegas ceremony. This night of celebration marked the end of their long and sometimes complicated courtship. The next time they celebrated the new year, they would be husband and wife, and soon after, parents. In this heart-hardening photo from February 1968, we see Elvis Presley as a proud new father holding his newborn daughter, Lisa Marie. She was born on February 1st, exactly 9 months after Elvis and Priscilla's wedding. The birth of Lisa Marie profoundly changed Elvis's life. He was instantly devoted to her, nicknaming her Lisa. This image captures the tender side of the King of Rock, a side the public rarely saw. Amid the chaos of his career, which was about to be revitalized by the '68 comeback special, his daughter became the center of his personal universe, a symbol of love and normalcy in his extraordinary life. This photo is the origin point of it all, the parents of Elvis Aaron Presley. On the left is his mother, Gladys Love Presley, and on the right, his father, Vernon Elvis Presley. Elvis shared an incredibly powerful bond with his mother, Gladys. She was the emotional center of his life, and her untimely passing in 1958, while he was in the Army, was a devastating blow from which he never fully recovered. Vernon, his father, managed the family's business affairs and Elvis's finances, especially after Gladys's death, living at Graceland for many years. This family dynamic, forged in Mississippi poverty, shaped the man who would become the king. This family portrait, taken at Graceland around 1969, captures a period of domestic happiness for the Presleys. Elvis looks radiant as the family patriarch, alongside Priscilla and a young Lisa Marie. Also pictured are his father, Vernon, and his grandmother, Minnie Mae, known as Dodger. This was a golden era for Elvis. He had just completed his triumphant return to the Las Vegas stage and was on top of the world, both professionally and personally. Graceland was his sanctuary, and this image shows the 4 most important people in his world, all together under one roof, enjoying a quiet moment of calm. On February 5, 1968, the world got its first glimpse of the king's heir. Elvis and Priscilla Presley are seen leaving Baptist Memorial Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, introducing their newborn daughter, Lisa Marie, to the world. She had been born 4 days earlier, on February 1st. Elvis, impeccably dressed as always, looks like a proud and protective father, while Priscilla cradles the infant. The news of Lisa Marie's birth made headlines around the globe. For Elvis, becoming a father was a moment of profound meaning, bringing new joy and purpose to his life exactly 9 months after his wedding. This photo captures a milestone celebration in Las Vegas. Here we see Elvis and Priscilla celebrating their daughter Lisa Marie's 5th birthday at the Hilton Hotel on February 1, 1973. This was a complex time for the family. Although they appear happy in the photo, Elvis and Priscilla had already been separated for several months. Their divorce would be finalized later that same year. Despite their personal issues, they both remained dedicated to Lisa Marie. This moment shows their effort to remain a united family for their daughter's sake, creating happy memories even as their relationship as a couple was coming to an end. This charming photo shows a young Lisa Marie Presley with one of the most powerful and controversial figures in her father's life, Colonel Tom Parker. Taken around 1968 or 1969, the image shows a softer side of the infamous manager. Colonel Parker managed every aspect of Elvis's career, turning him into a global phenomenon. While his relationship with Elvis was complex and, some argue, exploitative, he was a constant presence in the family's life. Seeing Lisa Marie interacting comfortably with the man who guided her father's career shows just how intertwined the professional and personal lives were in Elvis Presley's world. Here we see Priscilla Presley with her younger sister Michelle Beaulieu around March 1976. After her divorce from Elvis in 1973, Priscilla began to build her own identity, separate from the shadow of the king. She was on her way to becoming a successful businesswoman and actress. Her siblings, including Michelle, Dawn, and her younger half-siblings, were always an important part of her life. This photo, taken less than 3 years after the separation, shows Priscilla in a period of personal and professional transition. She was emerging as a public figure in her own right, maintaining her strong family bonds while navigating her new chapter. This 1966 photo takes us to Palm Springs, California, at the home of Colonel Tom Parker. Elvis, Priscilla, and their friends are seen relaxing 1 year before the couple's wedding. Elvis would buy his own Palm Springs home in 1967, a place that became his private getaway. However, this visit to the Colonel's house shows the deep connection that existed between the artist and his manager. The Colonel also had a home in the Las Palmas neighborhood, and these social gatherings blended business with leisure. It was a time of relaxation before the next film or recording session, a glimpse into the social life of Elvis's inner circle. After a 7-year courtship that began when she was just 14, Priscilla Beaulieu finally married the king of rock and roll. This image captures the iconic, yet surprisingly brief wedding of Elvis and Priscilla Presley on May 1, 1967. The private ceremony took place in a suite at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas and lasted only 8 minutes, quickly followed by a press conference. Priscilla's legendary white chiffon gown, adorned with pearls, was reportedly purchased off the rack to maintain secrecy. This union, which began when Elvis was serving in the army in Germany, lasted 6 years and gave the world their only child, Lisa Marie. It remains one of history's most famous weddings. This is not just a beautiful photo, it's a significant portrait of Priscilla Beaulieu. Taken on May 10, 1966, at the Blue Light Studio in Memphis, this photo session captures Priscilla at 20 years old. This was almost exactly 1 year before her wedding to Elvis. At the time, she was living at Graceland, completing her education, and adapting to life as the secret girlfriend of the world's biggest star. These studio photos showcase the beauty and poise that would soon make her one of the most famous women on the planet. She was on the threshold of becoming Mrs. Presley, and this image captures her youthful transformation. This 1969 photo captures the Presley family, Elvis, Priscilla, and little Lisa Marie, enjoying a casual moment at their home in Beverly Hills. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without their beloved pets. Elvis was a notorious animal lover, especially of dogs. Over the years, he owned many, including a basset hound named Sherlock, a poodle named Honey, and the famous chimpanzee Scatter. This particular image with their dogs shows a very down-to-earth side of the family. Away from the Las Vegas stages, they were just like any other young family, enjoying a sunny day at home with their pets. This is the image that defined Las Vegas celebrity weddings. On May 1, 1967, Elvis Presley and Priscilla Beaulieu were married in a private suite at the Aladdin Hotel. The ceremony itself was remarkably short, lasting only 8 minutes, and was attended by a small group of just 14 guests. However, what followed was pure extravagance. The couple held a press conference and then a champagne breakfast reception. The highlight was this legendary 6-tier wedding cake. It reportedly cost a stunning $3,500 at the time, symbolizing the union of two of the most famous names in the world in true Vegas fashion. While this black leather jacket became the symbol of Elvis's 1968 comeback, it had actually made its debut years earlier. This iconic photo is a portrait of Elvis on the set of his 1964 film, Roustabout. In the movie, he played Charlie Rogers, a rebellious musician who joins a traveling carnival. The film was a major box office success, ranking as the 8th highest-grossing film in the U.S. that year. This image perfectly captures the rebel persona that audiences loved, a look Elvis would famously revisit 4 years later for his legendary '68 comeback special, cementing it in history. This memorable scene is from the 1961 film Blue Hawaii, which became one of the biggest box office hits of Elvis Presley's entire movie career. Elvis stars as Chad Gates, a soldier returning to his home in Hawaii who defies his parents' wishes for his future. The scene captures Chad, Elvis, giving a playful spank to his girlfriend, Male Duvall, played by Joan Blackman. The film, a light, musical, romantic comedy, was a massive success. Even more famous was its soundtrack. The Blue Hawaii album dominated the charts, staying at #1 for 20 consecutive weeks and giving us the timeless classic, Can't Help Falling in Love. This promotional photo captures a dramatically different look for the king. It's Elvis Presley with actress Ina Balin promoting the 1969 Western film Charo. This was a unique role for Elvis for two main reasons. First, it was the only film of his career where he wore a beard, an attempt to distance him from his previous musical comedy roles. Second, and more importantly, it was a purely dramatic role. Elvis did not sing a single song on screen. The title track is only heard over the opening credits. In the film, Balin played Tracy Winters, the love interest of Elvis's character, the ex-outlaw Jess Wade. This 1968 photo captures a moment of pure family joy. Elvis and Priscilla Presley are seen with their newborn daughter, Lisa Marie. Lisa Marie was born on February 1st, and she was the couple's only child, destined to become the heir to the Graceland empire. Elvis, the king of rock and roll, and Priscilla, who would become a successful actress and businesswoman, are beaming. The birth of Lisa Marie brought a new dimension to Elvis's life, and this image captures the tenderness and pride of the new father. Years later, Lisa Marie would follow in her father's footsteps, embarking on her own music career. This image captures Elvis Presley in his only starring role as a Western film hero. The photo was taken for the 1969 movie Charo, where Elvis played the ex-outlaw Jess Wade. For this grittier, more serious role, Elvis adopted a rugged look, complete with this custom-made cowboy hat. The hat was created by the legendary rodeo tailor Nudie Cohn, famous for his glittering nudie suits worn by country stars and Elvis. This specific hat, a symbol of Elvis's attempt to shift into dramatic acting, became so iconic that it was sold at a memorabilia auction in 2014 for thousands of dollars. This photo shows Elvis Presley with the man who masterminded his rise, manager Colonel Tom Parker. Parker, whose real name was Andreas Cornelius von Kuyk, was an undocumented Dutch immigrant who never became a U.S. citizen. He was Elvis's sole manager from 1955 until the singer's death. It was Parker who negotiated the groundbreaking contract with RCA Victor and who shrewdly guided Elvis's career into Hollywood, resulting in 27 films in the 1960s. However, Parker's immigration status is the very reason why Elvis, the biggest star in the world, almost never performed live outside of the United States. This 1956 photo captures a behind-the-scenes moment from Elvis's meteoric rise. We see Elvis, center, talking with his manager, Colonel Tom Parker, left, during a stop in Miami, Florida. At the time, Elvis was in town for a performance at Russwood Park during the explosive early days of Elvis mania. The photo was taken casually in a parking lot, with Elvis leaning against what is believed to be his luxurious Lincoln Continental. This image perfectly illustrates the close collaboration between the young, rising star and his savvy manager, as they plotted their next moves to conquer the entertainment world. This is the wedding photo that became a cultural icon. On May 1, 1967, Elvis and Priscilla were married at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas. The ceremony, held in the hotel owner's private suite, was notably brief, lasting only 8 minutes. Following the ceremony, the couple faced the press for a conference and then hosted a champagne breakfast for 100 guests. Priscilla wore a silk chiffon gown she purchased from a department store, while Elvis wore a black silk brocade tuxedo. Although the wedding itself was intimate, these images became the enduring representation of 1960s celebrity glamour and the Vegas wedding. This photo captures Elvis Presley in one of his lighter film roles from the late 1960s. Dressed in a white suit and a cowboy hat, Elvis is seen here in a scene from the 1969 movie The Trouble with Girls. In this film, Elvis portrays Walter Hale, the manager of a Chautauqua, which was a type of traveling educational and entertainment fair popular in the early 20th century. The movie was a musical comedy set in the 1920s, offering Elvis a different kind of role that blended music with a period piece setting and a slight touch of mystery. This photo captures two of Elvis Presley's greatest passions: beautiful women and powerful cars. Here, the King of Rock is seen examining the engine of a car believed to be his 1956 Lincoln Continental Mark II. Elvis was an avid collector and famous for his generosity, often buying expensive cars on impulse, both for himself and as gifts for friends, family, and even total strangers. The Mark II was the pinnacle of American luxury at the time, one of the most expensive cars in the world. This image shows Elvis's enthusiast side, someone who didn't just own the cars but also appreciated the engineering inside them. Here we see Elvis and Priscilla on their wedding day, May 1, 1967, at the Aladdin Hotel in Las Vegas. While the image looks grand, the actual event was surprisingly intimate. The civil ceremony was famously brief, lasting only 8 minutes. It was attended by just 14 guests, including close friends and family. Only after the ceremony did a larger group of about 100 guests join them for a renowned champagne breakfast. Priscilla bought her iconic Empire waist silk chiffon gown from a department store. Elvis wore a black silk brocade tuxedo, creating a look that would become one of the most iconic of the 20th century.